right? Because people don't know. Basically, we're restarting. Think of us restarting totally from scratch.
Okay. Ready?
Because people don't know.
Ready?
I guess we should say what our show is.
Ready?
Because people don't know.
Ready?
Yep. Welcome back to Box Office Maniacs. And if you don't know what Box Office Maniacs is, because people don't know, basically what we do is we review pretty much anything that's out in the media right now. Movies, television shows. What else do we do, Vince? Because people don't know.
Sometimes we do CDs and Blu-rays and...
Basically, we're restarting. Think of us restarting totally from scratch.
Anything entertainment-wise.
Yeah, definitely. Blu-rays, DVDs, anything that's entertainment, we try to bring you the latest reviews and keep you updated as to what is going on out in the media world, because people don't know. All right, Vince, so what are we reviewing tonight?
Tonight we're going to review a movie that came out a few months ago called Annabelle.
I think it's been more than a few months, like a year ago.
Okay. Well, we only watched it a few months ago, actually.
Yeah, so what you're saying is when you watched it, that's when it came out.
Well, yeah, for us.
Exactly. Yeah, I didn't go see it in the show either because if anyone watched our review for The Conjuring, you should know that Vince and I were crazy over that movie. In fact, I think it was our favorite movie of that year, wasn't it?
I don't know about favorite movie of the year, but it's definitely favorite horror film of the year.
I think it ended up being the favorite movie of the entire year that year.
It was definitely a surprise hit.
Yeah, and we actually had gone and seen it for free, so that was fantastic that we had a chance to go do that. And now Annabelle is a sort of a prequel, sequel to it, I guess. And when I saw these commercials, to tell you the truth, I was not interested at all to go see this movie. It looked terrible.
Exactly. But for me, I just didn't get a chance to go see it. I actually found it interesting. The only thing that bothered me about it is it looked too much like they were trying to do a new Chucky with it.
That's exactly what I was about to say. It looked like a child's play. It looked like here are some murderers that come in and break into these people's house, and then they end up either dying or something happens to them, and their blood gets on this doll, and then the doll comes to life and starts killing people. I mean, that's what I gathered from the trailer as to what this movie was going to be about.
Luckily, that isn't what the movie is actually about.
Yeah, it was a total surprise for me, to tell you the truth. I had really had no idea what it was about except for that commercial, and what I got out of the film was totally different than what I thought I was going to get.
Now, I knew going in that this movie, actually, the only thing that has anything to do with The Conjuring is the fact that it's the Annabelle doll from the movie. That's the only thing it has to do with The Conjuring. Other than that, it's a brand new story as far as I know. And it doesn't follow the actual Annabelle story, the real one.
I was going to say that too. I mean, it's almost a prequel leading up to what happens in real life to the Annabelle doll. And if you don't know about that, you should look it up because it's fascinating stuff, the real story. And I'm almost positive that the sequel to this, if they will make a sequel, and they probably will probably be the real story of what happened to Annabelle, hopefully, and they won't go off into another, made-up story about the doll. I'd really want to see what really happened.
And I was going to say something about that too, Dave. Because if you watch especially if you watch the featurettes on the DVD, they explain about the movie in that, and they have James Wan, who directed The Conjuring. He's the producer of Annabelle, and he comes on there and he talks about Ed and Lorraine Warren and how the Annabelle doll was such a inherently scary film or read for him. He researched it, and it was so scary. And then the lead actor, who's the husband or doctor in the film, he also read about the Annabelle doll, the real life Annabelle doll, and he also said it was really frightening. And knowing that, it's like, okay, well, if that story was so scary, why didn't they do the real story and they did this instead? Which kind of didn't make sense to me.
Well, I can tell you is because they wanted to make more movies. So if they told you the original story first, then they wouldn't have been able to come back later and tell you, oh, this is what really happened to make more money.
Yeah, but then too many people would compare it to the first one or even to The Conjuring, and it just, I think that would be kind of silly.
They could make the next one about the actual case, the Annabelle case. But if I had to guess, if they're going to make this to a trilogy, the second film will once again be something made up leading into the final film, which they will say, this is the real story of what happened, or something like that.
Not that this film was altogether bad, but I would have rather seen the actual story.
Well, I can tell you, I was totally surprised by this movie. I mean, it was generally... I can tell you, I was totally surprised by this movie. It was generally... Generally? How do you say that word? Genuinely.
Genuinely.
Genuinely. Genuinely?
Genuinely.
I can tell you that this movie genuinely was... Man.
Genuinely.
I can tell you that this was genuinely... screw it.
Generally or genuinely?
Genuinely. I don't know, I can't say it. Basically, we're restarting. Think of us restarting totally from scratch. I can tell you, Vince, that this movie was actually scary, and that surprised me. I thought this was just going to be a snore fest of just kind of another running around doll killing people, and that's not what this was. This was a real scare fest. I mean, I jumped several times watching this movie.
Well, they definitely kept the tension and the scares of The Conjuring in it. I mean, you had a lot of that in there, a lot of that going on. But the funny part about the movie is it's not actually all about the Annabelle doll. The Annabelle doll's there, but it's not all together about the doll. It's actually about the two people who got a hold of the doll.
And I thought that was a real smart move. I mean, because the thing about the doll is it's scary, but it's not threatening in the movie. And that's what I really liked about it, was the fact that, okay, this isn't a Chucky movie. This is not a Child's Play. You don't see Annabelle running around with a knife going, trying to kill somebody. I mean, she's generally a doll. She sits there. And, she doesn't even move through the movie. And I thought that was a brilliant thing for them to do. I thought that was so cool how they did that, because it really, like you said, it wasn't so much about the doll. It was a different take on what was going on. And I thought that was great, a really original, cool idea, and it surprised me.
At a point, you wonder if it's actually this woman because the wife actually experiences more than the husband does. And you wonder if it's starting to just creep into her head, or if it's actually happening, or it kind of blurs the lines a little bit.
I was not expecting to like it at all and came out totally surprised. I jumped several times. I thought the story was very solid, acting was solid, and I loved what they did with Annabelle herself. It was really originally cool. It was just an original idea. So what are you going to give this film, Vince?
I enjoyed the movie. I can't say it necessarily blew me away. It didn't do like The Conjuring did, and with The Conjuring, that just totally knocked my socks off. But this one didn't really do that. But it was a good film. Like you said, I liked the fact that it wasn't a Chucky film. They didn't make it into that. So, altogether, I would give this film a 3 out of 5.
I think I liked it better than you. I loved the originality of it. I loved the story. I liked the fact that it wasn't a Chucky or a Child's Play. And I thought it had a lot of really good scares in it. I mean, I did jump several times watching it. So I would have to give this a 4 out of 5.
Okay, so there you have it. That's our review for Annabelle.
And make sure you check us out. Go to our YouTube page.
And definitely, please do this for us. Turn that little red button that says subscribe, turn it gray. that means you subscribe to us, and we really need you to do that.
So I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Box Office Maniacs, and we'll be with you again next week to review something else, and we don't know what that is yet, but it'll be something.
We'll come up with something.
Yeah, this is the biggest year of movies ever, so yeah, we'll find something to review. I guess we should say what our show is first, right? It was genuinely, how do you say that word? Genuinely,
Genuinely.
screw it.